All right. So the purpose of this video is to really just kind of show you how you can use the broadcast functionality to update your interface without, leaving or any kind of context switching. And so in this case, I can take this activity right here and, change the title. So this is awesome. I can automatically update the title so you can see that changed. So this is pretty slick. I mean, there's no real JavaScript in here other than the standard Rails stuff. It's pretty straightforward. So this is really, really neat, I think. Um, I can also go up here and then add a new activity. So let's say this is my new activity. Boom, and adds it. So this is actually, when you add this new record, it's actually prepending it onto this list. So one of the things about my situation was, I didn't want to broadcast my updates to the schedule to every single person that had a schedule open. I only want to send updates to this particular schedule or for everyone that had that schedule open. And I also, when I added activities, I only wanted to add it to the appropriate area. So each one of these is kind of a subdivided list. So this is a list of activities, and this is the thing or the deliverable or work breakdown structure element that this activity belongs under. So I've added, that activity under this. It didn't add it anywhere else. So I kind of had to, figure that out. How do you get it to go where you want? It's the same list, essentially. All these activities belong to this schedule, but I want to say where it goes in that list. So what I did was first I had the first problem was I wanted to scope my updates. So those updates should only be going to the appropriate schedule. So in my model, I have all my broadcasts set up. So I have the broadcast for add, for remove, and for update. So I want them to only go to this schedule. And so what I did is I set the channel equal to the schedule for um, the activity. So when that activity gets updated, it actually routes those updates to that schedule for that activity. At the top of this page, I have a turbo stream from schedule. So this schedule here actually represents this schedule on the baseline schedule, and all these activities belong to it. So this is getting loaded in the controller, but they're the same thing. They're the same entity. Okay, so I'm updating all of these to the appropriate place. And on the ad was a little tricky because I wanted it to add just to the section that I wanted. So the way that I did that is you can specify a target. So this target is where that thing will be prepended here. So I wanted it to go to the top of the list. So I created a div tag in each one of these that has an ID of the deliverable, and each one of these has an ID, so I thought that was appropriate. So I can actually shove, that record into each one of these groupings the way that I want to, and the idea is that the schedule will have a large number of activities, anywhere from maybe, 10 to maybe 100,000. And so I want to be able to scale with that and be able to make it useful. So there's going to be filtering and stuff on this in the future, but right now this is just pretty simple. Um, so on the update activities, the same thing, very basic. Now, all of these, since I haven't specified anything, are going to use the standard partial for this model or for this object, which is activity. So it's looking for a underscore activity.html.erb template to use. And in that, by default, you want to have a div that encapsulates everything that you're showing here. So this is just, I'm using a div for this instead of a table. But this represents that activity. So this would be activity underscore two, and this is a link to that activity. And I showed this in an earlier video, but that's how you navigate around the application or the different activities. So it's pretty neat. It makes it really useful. So that's how I did that. So to do the streaming, the important thing is you need to specify a turbo stream from element. I found when I try to use like a named identifier for this, like a quoted identifier like schedule underscore one, it didn't seem to link up properly. So I'm not sure what that was about, but using an object, as a parameter to this seemed to work the best. So turbo frame from schedule or turbo stream from schedule, and then broadcasting to that same schedule object worked really well. Um, so that's how I tied everything up. Everything works on the broadcasts. It uses the activity logic by default. I added the after create, after destroy, after update logic to do that. Um, so the interesting thing is that even if you have all this hierarchy in your HTML structure, it still can find the appropriate element. So when I removed an activity, I don't have to tell it to go under this div to find it. It just looks underneath the whole structure for that. And same thing with update. So it works really well. I think it's a pretty neat. There's a lot of functionality here that's made available to you with very little effort, and it seems pretty snappy. So that's all I have for you. I just wanted to show you how I tooled that all up. And if you have any questions, let me know. All right. Thank you. Bye.